It is grand final time at ESL 1 Mumbai. I hope you are prepared, both in body, mind, and caffeine. Mineski versus Keen. This one, we can go the distance. We can have some late game heroes. Kyle, we can have well-rounded drafts from Mineski. It feels good.
Real quick though, you asked if the crowd was ready, and I didn't hear a peep. Crowd? Hello? That's more like it.
I'll count that as a peep. Let's focus on our game. We'll bring it serious now. Before the hype, we'll have time for that. We've got 5 full games hopefully coming our way. Draft in for Mineski. They got the ES. They managed to slip through the ban pool, and Keen were willing to actually do this. There was discussion about oh yeah, you let Enigma through, but ES is in, the Wyvern stolen pick from Mineski. They've got this real nice synergy, a great Slaughter pickup as well, which we've seen a lot of success with KP on. A lot of great things that seems to just be adding up for Mineski with their draft.
And I think it's a great example of what makes BO5 series so special. This is why teams just love playing in finals, because you get a chance to truly test out your Dota and you make little tweaks. I love that we see the Lycan stolen from TNC. I think that could be an excellent hero to play up against Keen very fast. This lineup of Mineski can have so much tempo if they're able to win the lanes. The big weakness of heroes like Nyx and Lich and Spectre is that if you're on their structures by 20-25 minutes, they really don't have much of a counterplay.
So how do they actually slow this up? How does Keen buy that time, knowing that Mineski want to play the fast pace? Because normally it's Keen that we keep talking about, saying that they are the fast pace runners.
Yeah, and they've had a much slower lineup created at the moment, but it's worked out so well for them so far. I think this mid lane is going to be critical. Razor versus SF. Moon going for the nuke first build. I think this is the right play. As you can see, if you try and last hit solely with your auto attacks.
Mid lane. Courier snipe. It's in there from Ninja Boogie. He's got the range thanks to the Arctic Burn. Already able to catch it out between the towers. That's going to be really problematic for Yi.
Yeah, well, it's been currently my MVP for King Gaming, so it's a huge slay right there for Ninja Boogie, and a ton of gold as well. Does slow down his top lane. I love the Tide pick. I expected a Tide, an Underlord, or possibly a Timbersaw. They needed some huge, walrus of a hero to just plant himself between the Mineski lineup and the objectives, and Tide is especially good against both Lycan and Slardar because of the Anchor Smash and the fact that you can't really stun lock this hero to death ever because of Kraken Shell.
Also the fact that Old Levens had a lot more time on this top lane. Ninja Boogie was killing off the Courier in mid. It's been a great effect, but Lycan CS, it's not terrible. But Tidehunter can get done from range every time this Arctic Burn comes off cooldown. You see Ajit as well as Ninja Boogie doing as much damage as possible to him. While Febby is just this never-ending roamer. He can't help the off lane. It's a defensive tri-lane against KP. All he can do is leech experience on the off.
But this is one of, I think since Dota 1, right, a vintage combo. Shadow Fiend, Earthshaker, you're going to have the setup for multiple nukes, one Fisher block. When SF is level 3 or 5, that Razor is surely going to go down. And you want to be able to play aggressive as Shadow Fiend. You don't want somebody able to run at you under tower, especially not a hero like Razor that wins his matchups when he's able to be that aggressor.
If you can get those items early enough in the farm against Moon, it's going to help out. So far, however, that CS is not looking fantastic. Still only 8-0 and Febby is waiting, but he's waiting underneath the Radiant Observer ward, so there's no way that Yi gets caught out.
Yeah. Still is quite annoying though. You kind of have to watch the Shadow Fiend outlast at you. Top lane, they're going for Tide just a little bit, but...
Yeah, with a Splinter Blast and the Wall's looking to do the body block, Arctic Burn just burning through that life of Tidehunter. It's still not enough. It's 780 HP they've got to get through. That's a lot of work.
Oh, Febby's so close to landing the block. That would have been a sure kill on Razor. Instead, he's just going to salve up, no problems.
I need to trap him on that northern side of the mid-river, so SF can hit into him.
Important to note, Keen don't have any hero that's capable of rotating towards jungle. That's why this mid matchup for Yi is so important, because you don't have a core that's free to impact the other lanes unless the Razor's ahead and he can look to just run there, counter gank, TP in. Otherwise, Mineski's going to be able to make moves far more easily.
Shields are up. KP feels a little deep. Ninja Boogie's going to try and help him get out of this one, but KP doesn't have the life. And first blood is spilled by Keen.
Yep. This is all because Febby's just not playing with him. He's looking to secure mid lane, but very tough down bottom against a Lich, one of the better heroes at zoning in a 2-on-1 scenario. You can see why. He just chased down with the Frost Shield the last 6 seconds.
Especially when he prioritizes leveling it too.
Yep.
It's a 1-2-0 build, that level 3 Lich.
Yeah.
So if KP wants to keep coming closer, he can do so, but Ninja Boogie is now forced to sit on bottom lane. Not his desire.
Yep.
As Tidehunter is just zoning out the Lycan. And now you'll start to see the CS start to crop up. With 2 points up in Anchor Smash, Lycan's got a lot harder time locking down the Tide.
And I will say, the one thing that I fear is when we saw TNC play that really long game yesterday against Keen, the thing they were missing was a break mechanic against the Spectre. And in that game, they also had an offlaner that would have been affected, the Underlord. This game, you have Tide. I question whether or not this Shadow Fiend could have easily just been a Viper and increased not like really the late game scaling potential and the early game tempo, and it's a better laner. Because if you don't have a Silver Edge at any point in this game, eventually the Spectre Tide get way out of control and you just don't kill them. That's going to be a concern for Mineski.
And this is a very different type of hero for Moon. It's not like the Tanies he's been playing, which is like, I get a Blink Dagger, I'm being enabled. This is now I actually need my stat items and I need a break mechanic.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things to put on pressure on his back. Lich, a little bit far up. KP is trying to move over. He's run out of his sprint, but then the shields come up from the Lich. Febby wants to pump in more damage. In fact, he's the one with that last hit. No, he can't get it into Dark. Needs a little bit more. KP with a double crush is able to buy a little bit of time to get his distance between Old Chicken and Kaka and himself. And even salving right in front of them, wanting to try and keep this pressure on. They've got Crush available, and then looking over towards the next assassin. Smite Carapace is available. They're keeping that Chain Crush going. Looking for the Splinter Blast, but a triple stun from Kaka. Support coming in from Lich with the Frost Blast and the shields. Kaka, he'll survive on 14 HP. They've already killed off KEP, but Old Chicken, does he want more? He wants the 5-minute bounty rune. He won't be able to claim that, but he might be able to claim Febby's life. Another Spectral Dagger, and Febby will fall.
Really well played by King Gaming. And man, another example of stealing. You get the Lycan from TNC on Mineski, but you remember OG at TI and abusing this Spectre with damage reduction stacking? Lich Armor is at max level 60% damage reduction. When you combine that with the dispersion, you're still reflecting the pre-reduction damage to your enemies, but you're only taking like 15% of it. This is unbelievable when you consider Mineski kind of have to kill the Spectre if they ever want to win the game. So if you don't take out Lich, it's going to be very problematic. Almost all of their damage is physical, unless Moon goes for more of a magic build.
That's when you're like, okay, my Corrosive Haze needs to work harder. Like, he needs not have Mana Style just to try and dispel it. It's a lot of extra problems for Mineski. They are still off to a decent start with their cores, even going up against the Tidehunter. Lycan, he's not far behind in the CS, and Moon's already rotated up. Looking for this kill onto Old 11. Febby just needs to land the stun. Here comes your Fissure. Not the perfect side, but the Razors and into the trees. Old 11 doesn't have the mana for a TP. He's short by 10, now 5. But Febby needs to find him. Old 11 just needs to buy time. TP's now off cooldown. He's in the trees and begins it. And it auto-taunts. Febby won't find the Tide.
Really well played by Old 11 to Quelling Blade through that tree. It's a known juke spot, but if you do it quick and you know exactly which tree, it's almost always possible to escape.
And now they see that rotation. Keen Gaming, they know they can get initiating onto bottom lane. Up against KP, pulled back in by the Sinister Gaze. They were trying to bait out the Crush as well. The Spike Carapace was meant to connect, but KP able to survive. As King Gaming is a little bit uncertain about when their stuns can layer.
This will be interesting. I'm curious to see what build Moon goes here. I expect the standard Arcane's mech, but you got a lot of options. He's left the lane mid for Febby, who's only level 2 because he's been playing around this lane so much without actually taking experience. So far, game very even, less than 1,000 gold. It actually is just swapping back and forth, so a completely even game.
Yeah, this feels pretty good at the moment for both sides, but as you said, like the ES just needs a couple of levels. He's getting now in the mid, but is to keep up with Kaka. They were both walking around the 4-minute mark at level 1s, and finally they've been able to see either sit in one lane or the other.
Kilo tiles. What kind of stat is that? I mean,
that's
it's hard enough for me to go from miles to meters, all right?
Fissure, perfect block for Febby. He has no way up the Razor, trapped in with the Shadow Fiend. Lich will be there, but the Static Link begins, trying to take the damage away from Moon, but it won't matter when he can get the Razors up, and the stun, holding back the dog. He wants to dive under the tower. Ajit really needs to find this kill over on the mid Razor, able to claim it. As Mineski. This has now been for like the last 2 minutes. SF and Lycan sitting in the same lanes together, moving from top now to the mid.
Yep. It's a good rotate from Ajit, and that's the HOD. This is what Lycan provides. Anytime your ult is active, you can make that move, but they weren't able to get a tower, which means their next chance will be around that 10-minute catapult wave.
Moon really was coming down here just because he wanted to get the regeneration rune, but they'll force the Lich to take heavy damage and probably have to walk all the way back to base.
Yeah. Dude, Old 11 almost level 9 though, up top. KP is halfway to 7. big advantage for the Tidehunter, and this is the hero to watch for Keen because he's actually what's going to be able to slow the tempo and stop Mineski's push in its tracks if he just plants himself on that tower.
He's also going to get a lot of those support items up very early on, already building heavily towards the Vlads.
Yep. It's just a great item. You just stack armor here. There's so much physical damage on Mineski. It's really just the Shadow Fiend nuke and the eventual Shaker Blink that threatens you.
They're looking for another fight. Dog form still on cooldown for another 50 seconds, but they start with that slow down on the Razor. The Stomp is out. The Centaur, the Neutral's actually helping out. All 11 forced into the Ravage, connects over on 4. And this will create the space for Keen Gaming to retreat.
It's well done. They're keeping Kaka mid that whole time as well. He's just soaking up that free farm and XP. It's a key timing now for Mineski, though. You've got Catapult Wave and Bounty Runes in 30 seconds. You have Lycan ult up just before then. I'd like to see them make a move. You can even see them draw the line towards bottom, but I think they need a more high-value objective here. Top tower, perhaps, but preferably mid if they could make a huge move towards it.
Well, Fabi and Arjit are actually smoked up moving around there. They're going to have their smoke break on Kaka, who's moving down the river. So there will be the Fissure stun, holding him in position. He's already used the Spike Carapace, so kind of trapped in a rock wall. He wants to just push off the edge of the cliff, but it looks like Nixes don't know how to jump.
Oh my god, look, bottom. One bash with Slaughter Amp on him.
Old Spectre's already TPing out. He goes all the way back to Fountain. Spectral Hawk can get him to the front lines, but...
Yeah. This is key, though, for Mineski because they were able to push out mid and rotate bottom at the same time. So they forced away all these Keen heroes who have more limited wave clear than we're used to seeing them, to be honest. It's really just the Tide and the Razor right now that are going to be able to play lanes. Spectre will accelerate as time goes on, but he's more of a fighter and prefers to be in a lane all by his lonesome, which Mineski is not willing to provide at the moment. I like the way they split around the map. Wyvern in the safe lane. He's just taking the dead lane, spamming his W. SF mid can connect in either direction as the team pushes bottom.
He's been waiting to initiate for so long. KP able to get the cross shot, gets hit by the Spike Carapace. A Fissure, it's a 3-man, so maybe there's some time. No, pulled back by the Sinister Gaze. KP still insanely tanky. He turns around for another crush, but one more attack and the Spectral Haunt will give Old Chicken the kill. And he doesn't even have to leave the mid lane to get it.
You definitely take those as Keen Gaming, but Mineski do claim the tower.
I'm waiting for Moon to pull a Thompson right now. He's got the Arcane Rune SF with 4 points up in Shadow Rays. I don't know if he can slip it and take Roshan.
No, that's... works much better in pubs than professional games, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like King Gaming may be working out that he's disappeared. But either way, going for the mech build. A lot of LEs are saying that that Mineski are able to utilize earlier on, especially if you don't get the same type of stuff out from the Slaughter. They're initiating into mid. Never-ending controls and the Echo Slam. They have the damage to kill off Old Chicken. A 3-time killing spree going towards that Blink Dagger Fund of Febby.
Yeah, I love the build on KP as well. I see a lot of max stun, but he actually chooses to go for max bash and then 2-point sprint. So he's able to close the gap very quickly once the Fissure comes out. And then he lands his own bash into the stun, into the Echo. It's just 100-0. Nothing Old Chicken can do there. Really nice kill, because that is the hero that would eventually secure the late game for Keen.
Yep. I'm loving this Dire Scan that came from Mineski. It hit Kaka as he was moving through the mid lane towards the north. So Moon just backed up behind the tower, expecting this Tidehunter to try and get very aggressive, but they needed Kaka's initiation. But battling into an SF who already has mech, even when the Gush hits, like, SF doesn't really care that much. He's still got that burst regeneration from mech as well as the 14 magic wand charges, which have been just stored up.
Yeah, and if you look mid, they're just continuing to pressure. This is how you want to be playing Lycan. Always trying to position yourself in the aggro jungle. He's playing without boots, so he's got to stay close to these objectives.
This envious Winter Wyvern attacking through the rear. He's got Curse of Marble. They'll Troll Trap up to begin with, but Mineski, remember what they're here for. Tier 1 tower in the mid lane. They have to bring this down to open up Roshan.
Yeah, but Tidehunter is planting himself. They have no haunt for 50 seconds, so not a tower I think you can really defend here as Keen. Mineski lineup really starting to come online.
KP's waiting for the sprint, or actually just wait for the Fissure, allowing for the double stuns. The tower's been brought down. Ty can't get the revenge hit out. He's still got Ravage. He'll hit all 5 if he pops it now, but where's the follow-up? Turning around, Old 11. Moon lets the Requiem of Souls out. And Keen Gaming.
He didn't take anything. He's still half HP on the Tide. They blew everything on the Shadow Fiend. He triple nuked him with his ultimate, and you can see it just... That's the problem with Mineski's draft. You're going to get these towers, but Keen do a great job of damage control. They ensure that, yes, you can take my tower, but you need to commit all 5 I'll keep the Nyx top, we'll keep the Spectre bottom, so we're going to continue to out-GPM you around the map for every bit of our base you look to take.
But, okay, so is this now down to like Moon's build? Like, did he need to have more damage to try and offset this instead of going for like a full Greaves?
There's nothing you can do to kill Tidehunter with Lich Armor on him. It's all about finding the backline, which at this phase of the game is difficult.
They're going for top. Support's coming over from Keen. Sentry Ward gets planted, allowing for the curse to happen. ES is waiting. Doesn't actually... Well, he's got the mana for the Echo Slam if he wants to pop the 6 charges, which now Febby has done. The Ravage comes out. Febby, he doesn't even have time to hit that R button, and the dive comes underneath the tower. Lycan knows he just has to run himself away into the wolf form and away from the tier 1 tower, which Keen Gaming will claim in return.
This is another thing Keen's been doing so well this entire lower bracket run of theirs, the cooldown control. Yeah, you use your Ravage, you only hit 1, but the usage finds the first kill, and now you force the Lycan to pop his ultimate as well. So you've equalized the spell usage, and it throws off Mineski's timing. You don't ever want to be making a play with a no-boots Lycan if he doesn't have that ultimate available. It's just a way to slow down the timing. They get the tower. You always want to be looking to make these plays on the enemy side of the map. You don't want to be doing that, say, at your bottom tier 2.
Now Ninja Biggie really needs to deward this Observer and sees so much. That's why King Gaming hung around as long as they did. She's having all the damage taken away from him. And with the Chain Frost, it doesn't bounce back down, but it won't matter. Chicken still there in range to get the last physical attack in. And now Spectral Horn is a fantastic Fissure hitting over on 4 underneath the Shrine. Febby will pop it now. They need more help, but really as the supports is trying to run away from a 5-man lineup of King Gaming. Once again, battling around the 15-minute mark and under the vision of their own ward.
And Razor already bottom. He might even be able to beat KP to that other rune, but no, won't even go for it. I think the Slaughter would have got there first anyway. Very even on the rune pickups, and I love that average time. It just demonstrates how well these teams are playing around these early runes thus far.
And they're really keeping, King Gaming are really keeping Mineski's farm areas under threat. Like, there's no area the SF can just back up and feel very comfortable. But it's saying that, Moon still found a lot of space. He's number 1 the net worth. He's 500 in front of the Spectre. Keep in mind, too, there's 5 kills on Old Chicken, while Moon has had 0. In fact, he's only got 1 assist to his name.
And I want to continue reiterating, like, OG, they won TI. I don't want to take anything away from them. They abuse something super duper broken. Spectre, dispersion, plus damage reduction. You can even see Keen aware of this scenario. Razor's rushing a Crimson Guard. You've got a Lich. You put all of these on a Spectre, the block, the 22% from dispersion, 60% from the Frost Shield, full damage dealt to Spectre is done to your entire draft as you attempt to kill him while he's barely even tickled. You can't attack the Spectre. You have to ignore him, but how do you do this when he's just popping haunts? And like you saw there, he'll be doing that all game. Just diving onto 4 heroes, even on top of an active Shrine. He's invincible.
They're looking for a jump on bottom lane. Tidehunter, he's the bait once again. Mineski don't want this, but now moved underneath the Observer and Sentry Ward, planted down already, so Dark sees this entire movement up. There's no jump, there's just Nyx Assassin running forward. Even Tidehunter's going Desolated, not Blink Dagger, so he has to close the distance just by running at them, but Phase Boots help with that. But Mineski, they feel something is wrong. The Lycan runs to the side. KP, he's got the distance and he's got the speed, especially in the water. And they weren't looking to fight him, Mineski. Wyvern's already back up on top doing the D-push.
Yep. That's how you got to play it. But this is where the Radiant side advantage comes in, because Keen, you can't do Roche yet, but this Mineski lineup can at any moment. They're able to get just a little bit of an opening, so you want to conserve your cooldowns. This game will go late. You can see KP even preparing for it. You could argue maybe a blink would help, but there's just no need to try and team fight at the moment the way Keen is playing. It's so difficult. Just ensure you're going to scale. Old 11 going for that Vlad's Deso build on Tide. You would never think that that would be a thing as recent as 2017, but...
Hey, I remember when Denny tried this before the modification. He was trying Desolator and Maelstrom were the 2 items he would combine together. But, as you said, they look towards Roshan now, Keen. We see these new Observer wards. A lot of the time they planted a little bit further to the north, around like that, like just north of Roshan. Like in that little box there.
Yep.
But this time around, they just mix it up slightly. They put it further to the south. A lot harder for Mineski to deward when they can actually have a variety in their choices.
Yeah. Keen just, man, I fear for Mineski here. I like their draft, don't get me wrong, but I've got an eerie suspicion that Keen has a read on this game, and they recognize their win condition here. I think if you're Mineski, you need to force a fight around this next rune spawn, or maybe Roshan. You just have to get this game going. Spectre's already at 3K He's got a Yasha complete. He'll have a Radiance by that 25-minute bounty rune fight. I don't think you can afford to let this
start to drop off, like later into the game. Like this damage reduction sounds fantastic because the items get bigger for Mineski. It sounds like they'll have better ways to deal with it, unless you can't walk through trees, at which point then you have no way to even reach Old Chicken.
You can't. That's the thing, though, Toby. You can't deal with damage reduction. There's nothing you can do about it. He's just taking less damage, and he's dealing it back to your team. It's one of those concepts that's part of why I stress the break mechanic, because if you don't have that, there's no way to stop Keen Gaming's draft from doing what it's designed to do.
Well, Mineski have to find an answer sometime soon. They're looking at BKBs for the moment and finishing up the higher level Necro books as BKBs on the SF and the Slaughter.
Yep. That'll be their real go time. The Necro 3 Lycan, the BKB SF, but you've invested so much into those items that you kind of have to make them work ASAP. The blink is up on Shaker.
And it is, but Desolator also gets completed for the Tidehunter. They'll smoke up Keen. They're walking around Roshan, but that's not the target. They are coming in deeper now. Ninja Boogie's going to be the one to break the smoke with the Observe Ward. He's got to break to the skies as quickly as he possibly can. Not do any kind of damage despite Carapace being wasted. Febby hiding in the tree lines. They just keep looking around Roshan, but Ninja Boogie has just had to cross the riversides. KP is nearby, but I don't know if he can really help out. He's being just... It's just, again, for this 20-minute bounty rune that King Gaming, every 5 minutes, they look to add pressure around the rune. So Ninja Boogie, no TP scroll available, pulled back in by Dark. This curse will do little to nothing apart from put the curse on cooldown for another 70 seconds.
Yep, still an even game, but just that whole chicken net worth, man. 500 gold plus the relic already purchased. It's getting spookier and spookier for the Mineski fans out there. Those BKB timings are going to need to do some serious work. KP skipping the blink, going straight Midas BKB. He'll have that about at the same time Moon has his. So that's the spot for Mineski to get going.
Maybe we approach this from a different angle. Like, we're talking about the BKBs from Mineski, so they'll be able to stand during the fights. What about the push power? Yes, Spect is really great at doing the split push, but you got a level 3 Necrobook already on the Lycan. Is this a better angle? Like, is it like not take the fight and just force Keen into a trade?
It is, but Keen isn't going to give you the trades. They're not looking. You just saw them smoke through enemy jungle. They are not playing a cat and mouse game. They're a come over here, buddy. Let's play.
Well, they are. They're looking right at to KP with the initial stun from the Nyx Assassin. He was just out of range of that Sentry Ward of the Dire side. So KP will die, and already Mineski are walking away. Wyvern back up to the top lane, doing once again the counter push back out.
And Radiance is online and en route to Old Chicken.
They need another 500 gold to get Moon's BKB. KP was slowed down significantly. He still needs another 1,500-ish gold before he can actually complete the BKB.
Yep. And now if you're Keen, you want to plant your Spectre bottom lane, and then as 4, run towards this mid tower, and then try to control enemy jungle. And run, or just go start hitting it in the face.
Tide's got a Desolator. This tower stands no chance. It's -7 armor from its 12. And no one's going to contest the Tidehunter. Febby is looking at him. Maybe he thinks about the denial, but he doesn't think any more about it. Tide will now just walk into their jungle and have a lock.
It's scripted, Toby. Like, Keen, it's not difficult to really see what they want to do here. It's the optimal play in every scenario. They've yet to take a huge engagement, but maybe we'll have one soon.
All right, Febby. Like, trap yourself in the trees, as well as not trap the Tide in with you. No one sees it.
Now they're ready to go. Febby, you know, a lot of people in the crowd have him as their MVP right now, not just because he's the ex-boyfriend, but because he's played excellent. This smoke might have to work. But look at Keen, like, they're so aware. They're going to just plant themselves on high ground. How does Mineski actually find the reach to get onto this backline right now?
They have to be thinking they just pop one hero, but it's going to be a hero who doesn't have buyback.
Look top, like, look how Old Chicken is playing. Keen are very aware of what Mineski wants to do. It's all about this Roche pit. Just bait the tanky Razor who has completed that Crimson Guard. Nobody get picked off.
Oh, the Wolves just got someone underneath the Radiant Observer Ward, even though they were smoked for a small fraction of a second. They put an aggressive wall, but it's underneath the Sentry of Keen as well. Things just aren't going for Mineski. Fissure comes out, they'll see the Tidehunter. This just holds them back, and Dark is waiting inside the pit. He's ready to cause absolute chaos as Roshan goes back in. They'll see the Lich. The stuns are out. Can they kill him in time before that Chain Frost? No, the Chain Frost working with Roshan to kill off Moon. He'll get the BKB out, so the first one to die will be the Lich, but Old Chicken, just such heavy damage. The Wyvern stood no chance, and there's your buyback from the Lich, but the Necrobook minion army was just killing off the back lines. So Nyx Assassin does fall, but Tidehunter, he may be your new target. In towards the mid lane, underneath the towers. Febby is waiting in the trees. He's ready for the Echo Slam. They've got 3 heroes and 3 creeps, but that won't be enough. He can't blink because the range is causing him problems. Not to mention the Plasma Field. He'll have to fish into the double man's dump, but Febby can't escape from this. They're just unstoppable, Keen, when they run at him.
Yeah, you can see the key for Mineski is they did it well in that they got the Lich. They actually got Lich twice and the Nyx Assassin. Lycan minions alone with ult form pop will solo either support. The problem is you can't get the rest of your draft onto them because they've got to get through these huge cores of King Gaming. No BKB on Moon.
Old 11 just runs straight in without that BKB. He can't get out, but that's why you got the army. But that's also why you got a Ravage from Old 11. Shadow Fiend will go down. They move their attention to Ninja Boogie. Spectral Dagger unable to be thrown as Wyvern gets up the hill and into Fog of War.
Look top lane, Lycan being tracked.
They got support coming in. Spectre, he's already beginning his TP, but this will be easily cancelled. Karka was just waiting for the right time. The Wolves come back over, but Lycan is kind of stranded for the moment. And that's why they rotate the other heroes. They're not going to go far enough north to catch out the Lycan, but they'll kill off the rest of the donated creeps.
Dude, and Old 11 just bought a BKB on Tidehunter.
He's #1 net worth.
It's just so cool, right? Traditionally, you'd see the Tide going for these tanky teamfight items, right? But he's going for damage because his kit actually gives him that survivability, whereas the Razor, he's all in for the teamfight.
Got it. Febby steals the bounty rune. Here's your first crush, and he is also Old 11. Like, you don't do anything apart from give KP more time to bash him. TP support is coming over, but it's all way too late. It was SF, and SF's just actually, no, I'm not here to help you. I'm here to farm. I need more items.
Reminds me of like Tickle Me Elmo, right? You just keep poking them, you get the voice lines, but nothing's actually happening. You can't touch this Tidehunter. And you know, again, Keen, they get the play, they get a bit of pressure, they use their ultimates, and now again, back to retreat. You're gonna have a Manta for the next fight on Spectre. His haunt's up in 10 seconds.
Arctic Burn right now, kill the courier. It fortifies up, it's bouncing over the tree lines, but Ninja Boogie, he is dead. Does not have a TP scroll, could not find a way out of this one. And 3 heroes will kill him almost at the tier 3 towers of Keen.
Yep. You can see Yi understanding his spacing as well. Neither hero getting in range of that curse. And you know, it's too soon. It's only game 1. But I'm telling you, man, Keen, these guys are some of the best thieves I've ever seen in Dota. They looked like newbie yesterday, and I hope I'm not going too far off base by saying this, but this is very reminiscent of what Wings used to do.
Well, it's something we always gave the entire Chinese scene credit for. Like, you analyze the strategies, you refine it, and you make it better. And then you're able just to add it to your arsenal. Febby, he needs to help out top lane. Moon, he's thinking about BKB wind up, but there's 4 heroes here. Moon knows he's dead. And Febby will have to leave him.
I just don't know what your play is here, Mineski. You've got the BKBs on all 3 cores, but how do you use them so long as Keen protect this formation?
I am very uncertain. They push the mid lane, they push the bottom lanes. They're at least making, like, this is kind of like where I thought Mineski's partial strength was. They can keep these lanes always pressured in. If Keen want to go for Roshan, that's when they're like, well, maybe I do need to trade something. KP's been just continuously moving through the jungle, farming up. The fact that King Gaming feel like they're in such control, the graph is going their way for experience, but the gold doesn't look the same. This is still Mineski forcing down the lanes. Yes, and they're only like 1 tier 2 tower ahead. And now they're going to lose Roshan as well, so this will be the real test, is their ability to hold, but Keen have to waste time because they have to come back to deal with bottom lane.
But look at the triumvirate of wards they placed around the Roche pit.
They're going to try and cancel these TPs. Damn, that damage is so fast into Karka. They maybe they actually get this kill. KP's trying, but look at the damage reduction and the Echo Slam. They've got enough. The Ravage connects over on 3. Maybe not when KP's able to begin his TP out. All they tried to do was hold him there. Oh, of course not. There is already a Yule Scepter over on the Razor. Triple kill for Yi.
You can kill the
damage
supports.
to tier 3 is very negligible.
The supports, maybe. The cores, hell no, thus far for Mineski. And God, it's like watching who's that Zerg player that was super good and never lost? I guess it's Serral now, but you just spread the creep. And eventually it feels like you own the entire map. And right now, that's what Keen looks to do. They've got the Aegis, all ults on cooldown, so no reason to get too aggressive. Mineski, you're looking for some sort of big team fight. You need a Wyvern ulti to counter-initiate, but so long as Keen continue this like split initiation, Razor diving in, tied as well, but not so close that they would be in range of that AoE. Spectre's going on a backline target. If you check out the graphs on XP, on gold, on win probability, you'll notice a trend here.
Yeah, everything's starting to move up. I thought like it was a bad point to bring up the gold, and then all of a sudden Roshan happens and the fight directly after. Like, these kills are going to be very worth if Mineski can claim any of them, just because now they're starting to fall behind and they are going to look for more. Ravage is down for 75 seconds. These are the windows of opportunity. When Spectral Horn is down, when Ravage is down, they can potentially fight. So they smoke up, they move to the bottom. That's where they're getting so much information. But Keen already have an Observer and Sentry. So if the smoke breaks and now the hits, who do you go on? The Fissure does connect over on 2. Tidehunter is number 1. They're going for the big man to begin with. This is a hard ask. The creeps are coming up through the rear as well. As the rock wall dissipates, Moon, he's battling in the tree lines so they can catch Kaka out once again, as well as Lich. They go for the supports, but now can they get the bigger ones? Can they kill off a core? Into Old 11 with a Requiem of Souls. Razor, well, he won't do that much damage. The TPs are coming out. KP's going to a double kill, but does he have any more friends? When the Yorsum sends Moon up in the air, he's got no other choice but to stand here and fight against a 280 plus damage Razor, who is in the trees. Has he got enough? Moon working with Jin. K is just walking through KP. How much damage have you got? Enough to finally bring down the biggest raid boss of all, and Ninja Poogie with the cold embrace. KP gets a little bit more life, and Keen Gaming, they have to kill him again through the Aegis the Immortal. Hold him, and kill him!
There we go. So Mineski was waiting for. You got the bounty rune spawn now at 30 minutes. You can get a huge gold lead if you get these fast. You can see the Lich immediately going to be TPing. Nyx rather, but that was perfect. You had no Ravage, you had no Haunt. You said it best, and yeah, the Haunt comes up eventually, but no Ravage used. That is key. Mineski punished during the only window that Keen is weak. They needed that fight. Even into Aegis, it does not matter. You can see they saved Spectre for last. He's got no friends to assist him with that damage reduction, and sure, you find that exit kill in the slaughter, but who cares? Mineski got what they came for. 3 bounty runes?
You asked what the play was. That was the play from Mineski.
Yeah,
of course, now though, Keen will not allow that to happen again, and it did cost them 2 buybacks. Like both supports from Mineski had, like both the ES as well as the Wyvern had to buy back, but they're the sacrificial lambs.
Yeah, that was the first step, though. If Mineski can punish around the timing of the second Roche spawn, suddenly they're right back in this game. In fact, I mean, they're in this game, don't get me wrong, but if you try and fight each other with all tools available for both sides, it still is heavily weighted in Keen's favor.
Yeah. So they just have to bait out these abilities. Like maybe that's why Mineski is looking to engage onto the supports, get the big abilities out, and then you just like you kill the support, you already back off. Then you plan for the second fight. So it's almost like the prelude.
We shall see.
The BKB is now up for the Razor, so he's got a stronger way to stand in this fight. It's also amazing how much work KP was able to achieve. He was just never-ending hitting with that bash at the deep. It's kind of crazy to see, like, just a casual Hyperstone, but it makes so much sense on this ladder. And then he's going to go in for that Shadow Blade.
Yep.
Another initiation, but someone who could potentially get the Silver Edge, the break mechanic.
You need it. You need it if you want to actually win this game. And
and it's not coming from Moon. Moon needs bigger items than a Silver Edge.
It's a good decision from KP. He recognizes, like, this is what is necessary. You will not win if you cannot realistically target Spectre in the middle of a fight. And if his Dispersion is active, especially once he gets the 6% talent at level 25. It just becomes impossible to take this hero down.
Have you also noticed, too, that Old 11 is the one continuously consuming the tomes? They're trying to get him to 25, and he's almost finished up on Assault Cuirass as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about his item build. Do you guys see that talent? Right? Do you know how much 250 damage represents as far as gold goes? That's a hair-off rapier, and that item drops on death. This one's just built into your body.
Hey, you're assuming he's doing that after we've had this big discussion about these cooldown timings of Keen Gaming.
Nah, dude.
His talent?
You are not 250 damage? 250?
I'll always play devil's advocate just to get the conversation flowing. Jid's trying to push out the bottom lane, but this is a nice way for him to do it because they were able to deward the Observer and Sentry. They feel a lot more comfortable keeping the Lycan on the bot lane. And he's trying to build the same thing. He's still looking for the money for his own Assault Cuirass. So even with the wards, there's one thing you can do against your warding, and that's smoke up. 3 heroes to do it on bottom lane.
I know I've been favoring Keen, but not to take anything away from Mineski. Like, they've played a good game. they were neutered for so long just simply because Keen didn't give them a window. They've taken the one opportunity they had to claw a bit of a foothold in this game. They're still okay, but they've got to be very careful with this next fight. Keen is ready to go. They've got their AC finished. The Lycan does not.
The smoke breaks. They go after the units.
Oh,
and he's already got Hackett himself from the Nyx Assassin. So, yeah, items galore for Keen Gaming.
Yeah,
but Mineski are just dodging. They are hard dodging. Push out every other lane you possibly can. How many items can we get before King Gaming try and come high ground against us?
Yep.
And also get these buybacks back off cooldown. It's 3 minutes and 35 seconds before they're there.
You have a Butterfly now available for the Shadow Fiend. You're going to have Spectre picking up his in just a moment. There it is. So that, it's so crazy how close this game is, right? You've got the AC timing coming out at almost identical points. The Butterfly was less than 30 seconds away. Both teams know what they have to do to win. Just a question of who executes better.
I'm also liking just from Majid. He's keeping his eyes on wherever Keen are going, and then he sends his Necro Books to then scout out the vision. So what did Keen Gaming try and get from this move in? Was it just for a kill? Get the counter vision up, and that was something which Mineski always seemed to have, like, well, every team playing against Keen always had trouble with. How do we have far superior vision? If this game does keep dragging on like it is, the Lycan has more and more time just to check with the Necro Books, but they'll smoke up.
Okay,
Necros are off cooldown in 2 seconds time. They are looking for a fight, and Moon feels very much like a worm on a bait. And now KP comes in. He's able to get, well, nothing off. In fact, he's able to get Perma stunned. Now he'll get his own badges. They're looking to focus over onto the Razor. Have they got enough damage? Not when Dark gives him the shields and Lycan into the back lines. Who are they really targeting on? Oldham is trying to get the front lines, and now will actually use that damage. 250 damage, killing off his own Razor with a Requiem Assault in the back lines. Lich is down, but Old Chicken's into the front lines. Mineski, they just want to disengage. The Ravage is still off cooldown. They could still use this, and he's going in deep. He'll actually let it go. He's looking for the kill with the swing. The plus 250. My lord! Moon is in so much trouble. The fissure. That was off his speed can be protected. The gush on 11. Raid boss. Raid boss. Somebody kill this guy. He'll turn around with the rest of his team. Echo Slam. Femi is the man. He got stunned up. He needs to get the chain stun. They finally get him down. The Mineski have 3 in the grave with no way to bring him back to life. They cannot pay the boatman on the toll. Razor being hunted down by the Lycan, but what do you do? He's trying to kill the Nyx who's buried under, and Ajit can do absolutely nothing. He needs KP back.
Dude, the Crimson, like the damage reduction, the Nyx gets 40% when he's in that Ags form. What?
You don't know.
How do you kill anything? You can see, like, Lycan's hitting something the entire time. It just didn't matter. Old 11. Dude.
Can't believe they didn't. You killed the Tide, he just pulled back. It's like, you may as well have just given him a second Aegis. Old 11's just so much damage. And Mineski have no ability to kite, no ability to break. They're losing their mid, they're losing their bottom, and they may just lose their top. This Tide is immortal.
They're going for Megas in one fight.
Yep.
Or not.
Like the best.
Roche is up in a sec.
Yeah, Wyvern's back up. That seemed to be the biggest threat to King Gaming was like cursing whoever is standing next to the Tide Hunter.
Good lord, that just... It felt like a decent fight for Mineski, but you can partially also see that Radiant advantage, right? Roche is becoming an objective. Keen's playing enemy jungle. Mineski's playing enemy jungle. But unfortunately, you want to be in this top side of the map. And look at the warding once again from Keen, just controlling this river area.
We've got Roshan up in 20 seconds.
Yep, Lotus Orb soon on the
Right
Razor.
now, Ty could probably solo it.
I would agree. And remember, every time he anchor smashes, he's also getting that 15% lifesteal thanks to his Vlads in an AoE.
Nyx is already burrowing in. They need to get... Actually, the Sentry Ward is in range. Same with the Observer. They may not realize, however, that there is that Radiant Sentry Ward just in the crevice. So Febby can see that now. Yeah, Febby can see that now. Or can they? Okay, yeah, now they see it.
Look at the positioning. Spectre bottom, he's got ult up if you need it, and they just play around with his Nyxes.
The fissure, they're trying to keep Kaka in position with the Necro Books. They can see him quite clearly, but then damage reduction, they can't get through him. They may take 1/3 off, and then Spectral Horn into the back lines, and Febby is the primary target that Old Chicken is going for. He doesn't want this Echo Slam to do anything. Ravage is back off cooldown already. Requiem Assault is absolutely nothing. Febby can keep the sun over on Old Chicken, but the damage being stolen up by Razor. 271, Raider hit into somebody, and Winter Wyvern will be the punching bag. Febby cannot escape from Old Chicken, killed underneath where his tier 3 tower and Rax used to stand. He'll buy back quickly, but I'm not quite certain what they can achieve. Roshan is alive.
I'm not sure Mineski knows either, man. They all in right there, and Nyx just giggled. Crimson Guard, Lotus Orb, Lich Armor. the 40% reduction, the 1.5% max HP regen, like, good luck. Really, good luck, Mineski. You cannot kill anything. You do not have the damage.
Well, live on a prayer. That's what Mineski's got for game 1. King Gaming look unstoppable. They'll get Aegis and they'll get Cheese. Aegis in the hands of Spec, and it is Cheese being passed over to the Razor.
And real quick, props to Old Chicken, all right? You know how hard it is to get a carry player to buy Dust himself, all right? He had Dust to find that Earthshaker, gets him the back line, actually forced out the Febby buyback, but unfortunately, there's nothing to really buy back for. It's one of those games where after it's over, I don't know how you even approach it. You look at it.
They're all trying to get Silver Edge right now. They're all realizing they need something to break. So Lycan's got one in his quick buy. KP, he's on the way, but he needs more time as well. Like, I'm wondering if you even start selling items right now in order to get the Silver Edge to give you some level of chance, but they're going to push bottom lane. Ravage is still available.
You don't care.
Petrol Haunt is down for 17 seconds.
There's 2 tier 2s available, and if they get top racks, Keen gets megas. You can't actually make this play as Mineski. And remember, Spectre can just sit here no problem because he can haunt into the fight. Look at this tower.
Ninja Boogie, he needs to get a curse onto someone, but look at the distance. Keen Gaming and making sure they keep their distance away from Odd 11. Maybe not so now as Razor gets a little closer. Nyx Assassin is kind of trapped in the corner. Slider wants to battle him. They're baiting out the Spy Carapace. BKB from Moon allows him to hit in, but there goes your Ravage. Who will be unaffected, but KP very affected. Down for 80 seconds. They really needed him, and here's your Petrol Haunt. Back off cooldown with a full Abyssal Blade. They're ready to fight, and I think they're ready to win. This game looks like it's done and dusted. Lycan can move around to try and kill off Old Chicken, but with the fissure, it doesn't create enough space. They just go in deeper. The Echo Slam from Febby is stylish, but it ain't good enough. Old Chicken has a triple kill. They may give him more. GG is called. Keen Gaming will take game 1 of this grand final against Mineski, and they do it in a very reductive way.
Yeah. I think I don't really know what to say. I feel like we all knew how this would end for the last 30 minutes. It was just a matter of execution. Keen consistently placing the heroes they want to be targeted between them and the enemy. And they play keep away with their supports. They maximize on what their draft's advantage was. They utilize Mineski's lack of damage, and there really isn't much more to say. I'd love to hear from the panel.
Yeah, wow, Kyle. Thanks for saying everything. Panel, good luck.
Thanks very much. Yes, I'm sure we'll get a few more words out of our 2 panel members. Gents, that felt like a book I've read before.
Yeah. Rough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's continuing the trend of whenever King comes up against Mineski here at ESL on Mumbai. It's
certainly not getting any better.
3-0 so far.
Yeah, not getting any better, not getting any easier. And they haven't found any of the answers yet. And they've got to do it quickly now. I know it's a best of 5, and we have our own meta within the best of 5, and that can develop. But they need to get back on the board very quickly after that.
Yeah, on top of that, King showed that they, what we talked about them for this tournament is that they developed more discipline when they are ahead. And this game was that. I mean, for last half hour, it's pretty much just Keen going, all right, we've kind of already done what we needed to do. We just need to make sure we don't throw the game, continue to just have good positioning when it comes to the team fights, make sure that we don't allow Mineski to be able to take our towers for free. I mean, that offlane tower was up, I think, almost the entirety of the game. In fact, I think it was still up at the end of the game. A tier 1 tower still alive against the Lycan. That's got to be a problem. They didn't have a Silver Edge hero to be able to, well, apparently no Silver Edge hero to be able to deal with the Tide Hunter. And Old 11 took full advantage of that with the Desolator build.
Yeah, I mean, all round, it was just another great point. And I want to get across how good that was from Keen, because I think we're lulled a little bit into that whole. We kind of knew this is where it was going from about like minute 6 or something in this game, but they've still got to carry it out. It's like Cap says, they've still got to do all of those things well. They can't afford to make mistakes, and they don't make many mistakes, but they've still got to go and deliver it, haven't they?
Have that discipline there, and I think they really set themselves up quite well to do that with. A Spectre Lich should not be getting a kill early on against, what was it, a Slardar and a Winter Wyvern in the offlane. That you have much more kill potential as the Mineski side, but still they were able to give it to the Spectre very early on, and this is a game where Spectre should come online a lot later.
Yeah.
It was 5 minutes in, and she was in the lead on the net worth.
Yeah, bad signs.
Not ideal,
bad signs all around. I mean, they had some moments here and there. There was some good pressure on the mid lane as well. You got caught out a couple of times with some help from good old Febby and the Earthshaker in there. So they had moments where they were like, oh, okay, that's good.
honestly,
there was nothing that followed up after it.
I think Febby played really well this game. In complete honesty, no memes or anything like that. Because not only was he rotating to that mid lane, he was also stacking the jungle camp right next to the Shadow Fiend, which allowed him to have that, net worth lead at about the 10-minute mark. Right. He hit some really good echo slams that turned a couple of fights around, but it just seemed like the rest of the team didn't itemize correctly or take full advantage of what they drafted, because I think it was a stronger draft.
Yeah, I was going to pick up on that point, Cap. You both thought it was a good draft by Mineski. There was nothing wrong with it. It was very wide-ranging. It had a bit of everything that they needed in it. It suited what they've been playing as well. It was right in the middle of the meta. It seemed to counter much of what Keen had to throw at them, and yet when you actually see the execution, it didn't stack up like that. I wonder whether that comes back to what Mineski was saying about the early part of this tournament, when they felt like they didn't start very well, and their series didn't start very well. A little bit of rust. It was a bit... I think I can't remember the word that KP used, but clunky, I think he said. They felt like they weren't getting into it properly.
And you could see it with their rotations. Like, they were up by 2K by like 10 minutes or something. That was kind of the nature of their lineup. They were going to be able to take some early towers and such. Yeah. But we was looking at some of these rotations like 15, 20, 25 minutes, and they just looked kind of like frustrated that they weren't. They're like, this strategy isn't working. We're not getting the momentum we're supposed to. They start trying to force some plays. Like, I remember there's one play where the Lycan pops his ultimate and runs at the Spectre at bottom lane, and Febby had smoked up and rotated with him for that. Like, they don't lead with the fish or anything like that. It's also probably a low percentage kill, given he was just a dagger into the trees and run away. It's just one of those sort of like, they're trying to force plays just for the sake of feeling that they've been countered by Keen and they're not getting the momentum that they wanted.
All right, thanks very much. It's more to come still. It is a best of 5, so not all is lost for the Mineski fans here inside the dome and for all of you watching around the world, but they do have a lot of work ahead of them if they're going to claw themselves back into the grand final.
Hold him, and kill him! Boss, somebody kill this guy! He'll turn around with the rest of his team. Echo slam! Febby's the man! The stun down! He's gonna change up. They finally get him down! They just go in deep with the echo slam from Febby. It's stylish, but it ain't good enough. Old Chicken has a triple kill.